Well, with just a week to go before Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana tables his budget speech, the South African Liquor Brand Owners Association has called on the government to curb the high excise taxes on liquor and other similar products. The liquor industry says while excise taxes have increased fourfold since the year 2000, these have not led to lower rates of alcohol abuse. Instead, the illicit market has continued to thrive. Joining us now is Kurt Moore, the CEO of the association. Kurt, thank you very much for joining us. You have mentioned President Cyril Ramaphosa's speech and his promise during the State of the Nation address that his administration would cut the red tape that is hampering small business. You are saying these high excise taxes imposed on alcohol are another form of red tape.
Absolutely. Good evening, and thank you for having me. It's an important conversation to be having, as you said, a week before the minister's speech. Yeah, I think from an industry perspective, we estimate that there's about 100,000 licensed independent small and medium enterprises that operate within this sector that does experience excessive increases in excise tax as the red tape that the president referred to. And it's red tape specifically because they're competing unfairly against the illicit operators who are able to undercut them by as much as 43%. So that's what we're calling for. We're calling for government to moderate these tax increases because, as you rightfully said, they've quadrupled since 2000. But when you look at the per capita consumption stats that has been released by World Bank, that hasn't necessarily resulted in a drop in per capita consumption. So excessive excise taxes actually fuels the illicit trade rather than reduces per capita consumption.
But Kurt, government has a duty to actually discourage alcohol abuse. What should be the other alternatives that the association is actually trying to come up with here, since there's no other alternative for government over the years to curb alcohol abuse?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we think that excessive pricing does not lead to reduction in stats, and I've spoken to that earlier. We believe, however, that targeted interventions are the way to go, and to target those consumers who abuse alcohol and which causes the problems that we often refer to. Let's take an example such as drinking and driving. Now, drinking and driving needs to be targeted. You need to target those who are drinking and driving. You need to support the courts, and you need to support law enforcement to make sure that people are apprehended, and those who are apprehended go through the judicial system as soon as possible. And that's where we've committed funds as an industry to support government to reduce the alcohol-related trauma and the fatalities on our roads.
Give us a picture of how the illicit market has grown in South Africa over the years. We know that COVID-19 exacerbated that particular increase.
Yes, absolutely. We did an assessment in 2017 and then one in 2021. And what you'll find is between 2017 and 2021, there was a 10% growth. There was a 10% growth in the illicit trade. The fiscus has lost out. In 2017, the loss was about 6.4 billion. It is now up to 11.3 billion. What the illicit trade now constitutes is 22% of the overall alcohol market, which is about 20.5 billion rand. So that's a significant chunk of the market that they have. And in the South African context, there aren't too many companies who have more than 22%. So we have an uphill battle on our hands. And industry, I believe, is the most efficient source to fight illicit trade. As I said, they have a price advantage on us because they don't pay excise taxes. And each time government increases excise taxes excessively and outside of inflation, we just give the illicit traders the upper hand.
Kurt, before I let you go, you've called for a moderate increase in excise taxes for alcohol that is actually inflation related. How would the 100,000 odd licensed alcohol traders benefit from this inflation related increase?
Yeah, well, I think for starters, if government sticks to its policy, it creates more certainty for the industry in terms of pricing, and the prices it pushes onto its retail partners. But yeah, as I said, if the excessive increases in excise make it difficult for the legal players to compete, it's even more so for SMMEs, and that's why we're saying this that these increases, if they were below inflation or inflation linked, it would help the SMMEs to compete with the illicit traders.
Kurt Moore, the CEO of the South African Liquor Brand Owners Association, taking the fight to the president, saying if you're going to cut red tape, start with the excise taxes or the sin taxes as we know it.